Pole shift, mind shift, or both. Today, you don't have to search too far looking for information and various viewpoints about the 2020 phenomena. From countless books, movies, websites and TV shows, they all have added to the growing storm flood swirling around just waiting for someone to jump in. May I suggest taking a life preserver just in case you become overwhelmed by the rushing torrents. Some offerings are sincere and in many ways, accurate with the predictive assumptions based upon long-standing ancient prophecies of indigenous peoples. A lot more of these messages and especially the mainstream media versions focus on the cataclysmic elements of the event storyline. While I personally believe the scientific community's evidence is quietly proclaiming major Earth changes are not only occurring now, but they are accelerating and growing at a much larger, rapid pace. This important life-changing component of the 2020 subject is critical to understand, but it is only a passing part of the entire process. If one really wants to dive in and get a better grasp on the earthly changes subject matter, may I suggest looking into the topic of a geographic pole shift. This scientific fact is not to be confused with an associated event that is, a magnetic pole shift, which most scientists know. Magnetic fields on Earth normally fluctuate often. Much of the catastrophic, mountain-moving, continent-sinking events that are geologically proven to have occurred at specific time intervals in Earth's past are the basis of recent Hollywood movies. So, I cannot totally disagree about the likelihood of just such an event's possibility, yet, if you do understand the why, you are in a position of knowledge-reducing fear, thus better able to help yourself and others if such an event occurs. Finally, one more item regarding the 2020 timeline. We live in a world primarily driven by our calendar time systems, and much of what we now do requires us to be observant of such. So, to expect with utmost certainty that on the winter solstice of December 20, 2020 that all hell is going to break loose, I believe you will find that you have been misled. Consider this current shift of the age as a birthing process which will span a couple years past 2020, possibly into 2022. We are now well into the birth pains, and to an uninformed outside observer, this time looks like chaos and pain, which being true, it is. But to the informed and consciously awake, the joy of a new life full of promise is soon to emerge into the light of day. Now that we have set aside a major geological, scientifically and historically accurate probability of just what may happen during this shift of the age we are now in, I want to address the here and now. It's important to get a grasp on the internal changes within each of us that are at the heart of the matter for all humanity. For in doing so, I believe we will all be in a much better position for the really important turning point in Earth's and humanity's entrance into the Golden Age. Humanity's potential no longer handicapped. For approximately the past 5,125 years and even further back to almost 13,000 years ago, we have for the most part been living a handicapped life. This handicap, while a natural process, has been orchestrated by our dominating left brain's inherent capacities and minimal influence from our more spirit-connected right brains. All the evidence now available from the ancient wisdom of our past to today's scientific discoveries combined together corroborate a simple fact: the human race is now experiencing a quickening of our evolution in consciousness. This is no small feat by any measure. Beyond the 2020 doom and destruction portrayed to the masses, our real destination and the bright promise of an entirely different world is becoming possible because we are now returning to spirit-mind-body wholeness. I suspect many viewers realize they are eternal, spiritual energetic beings which, by choice, are experiencing through physical embodiment, life, here on this planet. It is through these bodies we indwell that have restricted our abilities to easily access all of our infinite being. Thus, handicapped, we have had severely limited abilities and a degraded conscious awareness of our complete, all-empowering eternal selves. What was once out of reach for so many now is becoming a moment-by-moment transformation of self made possible through reawakening and reconnecting to our true, higher selves. Through a balanced functioning of our brains, combined with our heart's primary role, we are quickly becoming transhuman. Left brain, right brain. History is replete with individuals who were able to access their complete being, tapping universal resources and then applying these to seemingly alter or modify their surroundings and even other people. All these actions and the like were labeled by observers as either miracles or magic. Even to this day some believe these capacities are reserved for the select few, however, it is not true. All this is changing now. The real essence of the 2020 shift is about the transformation of our minds, hearts and spirits. Specifically, we are going to focus on the mind portion of this triad. Our minds are magnificent, even magical, and a very mysterious component of our bodies. While some state we do not use 100% of our brain's capacity all the time, notwithstanding, we have total access to that higher capacity. More importantly in all this talk is the physical brain structure with its two halves that comprise the whole. Here is where it gets interesting from a human historical and forward-looking perspective. We have been held back in our consciousness advancement by our inability to balance and effectively use our divided brains through the direct influence of our higher self, or spirit. One other equally significant contributor in balancing this dance of divinity is our hearts. More on the heart a bit later. Our brains operate in duality simply because of the way in which they are divided and connected to each side through the corpus callosum. It is as if we have two super powerful computers inside our head running on two distinctly different software operating systems with a firewall separating the two. As a result of this design, we are in effect able to choose to a degree which side of the brain is dominant for most of our lives. Yet, for most human beings the choice of which one dominates and directs is largely ignored and left on autopilot. Each of the two cerebral hemispheres offers special characteristics that are unique to each other and when utilized together, provide a complete balance in our cognitive abilities. Again, the key here is balance for optimal conscious awareness and a more complete access to the higher realms where our true self resides. Merging of the minds. Most of us have thinking abilities and awareness of this world predominantly generated by our left brains. Generally speaking, for the past 5,125 years and even further back, we have been led by, and created life through our left brain thinking capacities. To fully grasp the importance of this 5,125 epoch of time, our brain's left hemisphere is responsible for perception of and the response to this reality and its structure generated within our five senses. It decodes and filters language, quantifies and analyzes objectives, and simply put, classifies and judges everything perceived through a lens of logistics: right-wrong, black-white, good-evil, mine-yours, win-lose. One of the most detrimental aspects of left brain-only thinking is that of supreme separation of the individual from other individual souls, including the surrounding reality. While this is merely a mind-generated perception, if normally left unchecked it can lead to all kinds unwarranted, fear-induced choices or decisions because one believes others are in the exact same restrictive position. Of course this belief is now proven to be false, but unfortunately it is hard to escape that paradigm without the full use and contribution of the right brain. These left brain-influenced individuals are separated by the left mind and void of the ability to access or even conceptualize empathy and other emotional aspects of the right brain. Trapped within this limited domain, they are unable to comprehend the interconnected effect of their actions or choices, which most often greatly impact others. When individuals have limited or even non-existent abilities to feel emotion, they naturally become very robotic, like humanoids. This is when their objectives to manipulate others for the sole gain and benefit of a select group is easily and logically accepted, because without empathy, anything goes. Just look at today's headline news and consider which side of the brain is the ultimate source of and responsible for our present world condition. Again, history contains a complete record of what occurs when the left brain dominates. This is a separation-based mindset that can only deliver limited human potential. Fortunately, this time period has run its unbalanced course and is in quick order rebalancing itself. The unbalanced use of our minds has historically displayed the worst of our abilities, and until recently, these internal energetic changes which are now occurring affords us a wake-up call right on time before our collective demise. Many multitudes are awakening into another expression of living through accessing more often the right brain's functions, and know if this left brain-dominated world is allowed to manifest unabated, surely we shall soon cease to exist in our present order. Crucial to human control in a certain direction has been the desire to suppress activity in the right side of the brain, or at least to stop it transmitting that unique activity which originates in the right hemisphere. Awareness and information flowing to each side is transmitted via the brain's bridge, known as the corpus callosum. This bridge to either side appears to have toll gate or firewall, which can be closed or controlled by subtle, externally sourced mind-influencing, thought-generating mechanisms unknown to the general population. Activity generated by either side of the brain can often be easily distinguished from one another. Generally speaking, the left brain is considered in essence male and the right, female. Just as all things existing in the universe, there must exist the opposing energy forms. Our physical makeup is no different. Each side experiences reality in fundamentally different ways. The right side maintains a direct connection to the infinite beyond our common, five senses, with awareness of all interconnectedness. On the other hand, the left side is our direct, tactile connection in this world, operating within logical, methodical constructs carrying with it a definitive, judgmental, survivalist predisposition. It also allows us to perceive the illusion of linear time as sequences unfold, events transpire, adding to the illusion of time passing and forever moving into a future. When the left brain is isolated entirely, foreign levels of infinite awareness emerge. One such documented case involved a woman by the name of Jill Bolt Taylor. Dr. Taylor is an American brain scientist who personally experienced right brain reality when she suffered a hemorrhage after a blood vessel exploded and shut down the left side of her brain. This life-altering event could not have happened to a better person, one unique individual scientifically capable of coherently assimilating the brain processes that transpired during this ordeal. When this occurred, she was on an exercise machine and quickly realized that something was amiss as she noticed brain functions slip away one by one: speech, movement, understanding. She studied and remembered every moment. During a riveting speaking engagement at a TED conference, Dr. Taylor's speech centered on her profound life-changing experience. And from her own words, it was as though my consciousness had shifted away from my normal perception of reality, where I'm the person on the machine having the experience, to some esoteric space where I'm witnessing myself having this experience. I looked down at my arm and I realized that I can no longer define the boundaries of my body. I can't define where I begin and where I end, because the atoms and the molecules of my arm blended with the atoms and molecules of the wall. And all I could detect was this energy. Energy. And I'm asking myself, what is wrong with me, what is going on? And at first I was shocked to find myself inside of a silent mind. But then I was immediately captivated by the magnificence of energy around me. And because I could no longer identify the boundaries of my body, I felt enormous and expansive. I felt at one with all the energy that was, and it was beautiful there. It could be surmised that one of the most important discoveries that emerged was that Dr. Taylor categorically revealed the left brain is egoistic, intellectually based in logic and strictly attached to time, compared to the right brain, which is egoless, highly intuitional and time transcendent. In short, our left brain is the function of the mind, while our right brain is solely the function of the heart. Her story is an incredible one, validating how our brains define us and connect us to the world at large and each other. Heart and mind unity consciousness. With research exploding in biotech, more and more empirical evidence shows the interconnection between the DNA of our genes, brains, behavior, culture and physical environment, proving the ancients right. It is just that now, we are able to more clearly understand their language and the important messages they are still transmitting to us today. The timing of this message and its contents cannot be ignored. Another significant component, and very likely the most important one in uniting the eternal spirit with our complete mind, is the heart. As heart research continues to evolve and reveal its secrets, we shall soon confirm that our spirit resides in the domain of the heart. Our duality-based consciousness erodes when our hearts open, allowing an unlimited access for our spirit's higher selves to influence equally both hemispheres of our brains. This acknowledgement of the heart's role must not be downplayed. Think of this natural collaboration, a triad of sorts, linking our spirit, undivided mind and heart, all unified together, capable of unbridled creative capacity, dominated by the influential power of unconditional love. At the very moment of birth within individuals, this grand all-encompassing eternal awareness reveals that something miraculous happened. You quickly realize you are not the same person that you were before. On a biological level this true, and at a cosmic level as well. With balanced influence from both hemispheres of our brains directed by our eternal spirits, our entire sense of self and surrounding reality changes. Our old values and life perspectives are transformed. Previously hidden doorways to untold beauty and possibility suddenly emerge right before us. Today, more than any time in the past 5,125 years, humanity is now emerging to traverse through these infinite doorways, because our incredible universe and our eternal higher selves has once again conspired to lift this creation to another higher realm of promise. This moment of birth is now upon us all. Allow the magic of miracles to infuse your entire being, playfully permitting your open heart and mind to dance within the unifying music of synchronicity. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more upcoming videos.